listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys are watching their way through Sex and the City for the first time ever, mostly. I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Jon Sieber.
And I'm Kevin James Doyle. And we are here with
The ladies.
the ladies. Some of you know them. Probably most of you listen to them because I feel like Sex and the City fans are pretty loyal to the podcast world. Speaking of them, they're here.
Nice.
Speaking of Ferry.
Yeah, that was so good. Thank you.
This is a podcast mashup.
Yeah,
We're a crossover.
We're crossing the
This is our
streams,
first-
man.
This is our first cross pod.
This is
I
very
think
exciting.
ours too.
Yeah.
Our first.
Well,
Wow.
we had Terry Gross on earlier, and we did a fresh. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
So why don't we? I know Elyse. We met what 6 years ago, 5 years ago. We met in an acting class.
kindred spirits now.
Yeah.
I mean, we should get matching tattoos at this point.
Yeah.
We've known each other a long time.
And we just met. For
We
the
just
first
met
time.
minutes ago.
I guess why don't you? Since sometimes we have to like banter with the guests and then
Yeah.
be like and transition about why they're on the podcast. Like, but you guys explain your relationship to the show because it's like a deep relationship to the show.
Yeah, I mean, Elyse trained me on the Sex and the City bus tour,
Oh my
which
god,
is wild.
did.
And we really hit it off right away. I would say immediately. I think rightfully so. A little weirded out by the job at first. Like I was very excited for it. I loved the show, but I was like, this is a very long tour. It's 3.5 hours. I was like, I don't know if I can
If
do that
you're
for that long.
lucky.
If you're lucky, and then be like, just can I talk about it that much? Like, am I that big of a fan? And it turns out, yeah, I am. And it was just really fun right off the bat.
I saw you
Elyse.
and I.
Yeah,
it was you trained some people. I've trained like handfuls.
You
Handfuls?
question
There's
the
some you're like,
choices.
you're like, she's not going to cut it. She's a sweet woman, but like, no, she's not going to make it through 2 tours. She doesn't have like, I don't know. There's like a grit
zhuzh.
and like a zhuzh. Yeah. There's
A joie
something.
de vivre.
Yeah. And like, I saw her and I was like, I don't have to worry about her.
That's
But
have to worry about you.
the people that take those tours are probably big personalities.
Some
Okay.
are stoic and it's like,
Yeah.
but like, I think it's just like so many walks of life globally. Like there's just so many countries.
So there's not you don't have a standard fan that is your standard tour goer for the Sex and the City podcast. Would there be one stereotypical?
I get a
Canadians
lot
and
of Australians.
A lot of Australians, a lot
I
of
love
Canadians.
the Australian. I didn't know how much I liked Australian
Everywhere.
people.
When you go travel or even just around New York, they're always like, yeah, I'm on a gap year. They're always everywhere.
I've been to Vegas.
Yeah, they're so fun.
California.
Yeah,
they're all
we're
over
going
the
to
place.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
gonna be
love
great.
America, mate.
Yeah.
It's so great.
They just
here.
want to party
It's like-
and have a good time. I
It's
love
like,
it.
where are the
Literally,
rooftop
yes.
bars?
It's because
a
they were
terrible
at one
accent.
point they were British jail, so it just breeded like very fun people.
That's really true. Yeah.
Best
I
party
know.
ever.
Wait, is that so? Did you guys meet doing the tour? Like you
Yeah.
met with you training?
We met at the
Melissa?
Plaza
Yep.
Hotel
Yeah.
on the side of a bus.
And you had these bangs, and I was like, "Damn, there she
I did have
goes,
bangs at
there
the
she
time.
goes," like that song. And it was match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Just with the last episode that we watched was season 2 finale. We were gonna, and it's right in front of the plaza. That's where.
That's where.
Oh, that's
where
the horse
Carrie-
moment
The horse
and
moment.
everything.
So,
I mean, that is the
Hubble.
quintessential. Like every crazy chick in New York who's single has that moment where it's just like, you know what? I can't be tamed. That's the problem. I can't
That's
be
it.
tamed.
I can't be tamed.
I can't be tamed.
Get that harness off me. Get that harness off me. That's
Some
what I
people
say
just need to
every
be
day
free
of my life.
until there's a horse that's fast enough to run with me.
yeah.
Yeah, is
Who's-
that what the
it's
line was? I
relatable.
missed it.
I think it was.
It's
I think
something
it was
like
I can't
that.
be
Yeah.
tamed. Yeah. Well, you guys know, like so our podcast, you know that we are watching it through for the first time. ever.
Yeah.
So that's all
Mostly.
we've seen. Mostly. John and I'd seen about 5 episodes. John had seen a few.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin had seen none, but he did a Sex and the City walk-in tour without ever
That's
seeing.
what?
That's what
Okay.
I said to him. I was like, I don't know if they'd be mad.
You get 3
So,
minutes. Everything.
I don't
Go.
have his messages anymore. They're on WhatsApp, but it was this British guy. If we could get him on the podcast, I don't know if the company's still around, but it was a walking tour, and the company was called Celebrity Planet. And the
I'm gonna look for it while you're talking.
The dude,
Cheers,
you can
mate.
please look it up. They started like one of the first Harry Potter tours in England, so he made tons of money, and he was just like ran the company from over in England and was sort of just like, you just throw two together, you tell someone to be there, it's fine. And it was so unorganized, and like every single time I would get a message from him that was just like, mate, why aren't you there? And I was like, I wasn't scheduled to work. And he's like, there's 6 people there waiting. What? And like, it was just the craziest company. And
Wow.
then and so it was called Celebrity Planet, and I'm not,
That's a great
I
name.
swear, I'm not
It sounds like
lying.
the name of like a bad
Celebrity
celebrity TV
Planet.
show. Welcome to Celebrity Planet.
Yeah.
For the next half hour, you're in my world.
Well, and after I did 3 or 4 tours with him, and he's like, let's celebrate. And we went to the Standard Hotel.
Oh
And
my.
he bought me like a $250 dinner with the one other tour guide that was there.
Oh
and,
my.
And then we went, and he was like, let's do shots of tequila, mate. And I was just like, dude, your company is not going to make any money. I had done enough walking tours that I was like, this is not organized enough. And he would end his text messages after like a conversation would happen. He would end it with his like salutation, or his ending would say peace and fucking. I'm dead serious.
It's
Oh
so
man,
swear to
Melissa,
God.
I feel like you need to meet this guy.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was
Melissa,
like,
you
this
got a
sounds like
party
someone I
with
would
Celebrity
date.
World. Oh my god. Oh
It
my
does
god.
sound like someone.
Good
I
Lord.
kind of knew you were gonna bust my balls about that, and I was like anticipating it and looking forward to it, and also
great.
dreading it.
That's great.
So
Damn.
the Twitter account for this is the last tweet was
He owns a business. He's
2013.
super successful.
So I don't know if it's still around, Celebrity Planet, but that's what I did it
I'm
for.
gonna
And
follow
so
that.
it was such a ridiculous company that I had never. He put me on it, even though I had never done. I'd never done Sex and the City tours, and he didn't really care. He's like, just show him a good time, and I would usually halfway through the tour like tell them, and then the fans would get like really excited about it and be like, oh, I'll show you, this is like where this happened. So no one ever cared.
Oh,
But
great.
and then
You didn't get
Wow.
like like just these questions out of like, hey, season 3, this bar is that bar facing east on the street or west on the street? And it's like,
If anybody said that to me, I'd be like, "Go home. Go back to Australia.
You don't-
These are too in depth."
you don't
Yeah.
get those?
No.
Oh, I get somewhere. It's like, which Krispy Kreme did da 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 da? And I was like,
Sometimes I am just like, Google it. I don't know.
I say, you know what? I'm
on the
smart.
tour.
My phone's very smart, and we work as a team. Give me one moment.
That's so funny.
That's cute.
That's great.
this is I just found their TripAdvisor account,
Yes.
That's what I was looking at.
Yes.
and it
I
says
think we need to go on the tour.
listen to how great this is. The Gangster Tour of New York. The review is from April 11th, 2018, so it's still around.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
The title of the review is "The Real Gangsters Are the Organizers of This Tour." Flew in from the UK and was very much looking forward to the tour, but it was canceled at the last moment. Still, like that happened all
Wow.
the time with me. Tour company seemed incredibly disorganized, and there was no mention of a refund. After a back and forth, they put us onto a cupcake tour, which wasn't right for us, but this was the only offer they gave. We ultimately dropped out of the tour halfway through, which makes this particularly ignorant. Something is at previous years we've done food tours. It worked out well. Yeah, there's just a bunch of 1-star reviews.
It's really
That is
funny.
great.
that
The
it's
real
like-
gangsters are the organizers
The
of this
real
tour.
gang-
The real
Swindle.
gangster tour, it's like, we'll just put you on the cupcake tour now. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
It's the
gonna go-
same.
Same
audience.
Tell anyone. Yeah.
Carrie wore pink. Cupcakes sometimes are pink too.
That's so
It's
funny.
relatable. Come on, ladies.
So I want to. So I know you trained or in doing the tour, and that was how you first met. But how did you first get exposed to Sex and the City? Like
Oh.
you were big fans before? No.
No,
Did you watch the show?
I didn't.
I was.
Go ahead. You go.
I mean, I watched the movie, I think like, I want to say almost on a daily basis in college. I don't know why. It
The
was just
first
like the
movie.
thing that
Two.
I would fall asleep.
Season-
The first
I'm
one.
just kidding.
Oh boy.
Guys, the Liza Minnelli scene really did it for me. No, it actually did do
boy.
it for me, but I didn't know. The
I
second
think
one I've
I've
seen
only
a couple
seen
times.
the second one once.
Okay.
All the
That's
way
fair.
through.
We've
It's
heard.
fair. No, I
So go ahead.
started in college mostly, I think just with, the same way everyone does with girlfriends, whatever. I particularly liked a few certain storylines. I mentioned on Twitter today, Splat. That was one of the first episodes that I saw.
So I don't think we've seen. Have we
No,
seen that
it's-
yet?
You got a long way to go.
Because I
Oh,
thought it might have
God.
been the tantric sex
I'm
thing
jealous.
where Miranda gets Splooged in the face.
No, I don't know if I
That's
should
not
tell
it.
you
isn't form
guys.
of splat. That is a
Grundle
splat
juice?
moment.
You talking
Grundle
about
juice.
Grundle juice.
Grundle juice. Hey,
Okay.
local Whole Foods. Grundle
I mean,
juice.
should I tell you?
No, you should.
no,
Well,
no.
No, I
we've
won't.
said that spoilers are off the table, but I do feel
We
like
don't need
something
to go
like
out
that.
of our way to spoil.
We don't need to go over
Okay.
like because
Yeah.
we know there's a
Well, you
scrunchy
guys
thing
just-
coming up too, and we don't
Yeah.
really know what that is. So like,
This
Title
is,
of the
I'll just
episode?
tell you who the actress is. It's Kristen Johnson from like Third Rock from the Sun.
oh yeah,
And she's a amazing comedic actress. She plays like a party girl who was like very much the it girl maybe 10 to 15 years prior. And it's kind of like
Okay.
her fate comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Is
She's
the
like
name of the episode
Cheney of-
Splat?
Isn't it Cheney?
What's that?
What's the name of
Lady.
the episode?
It's called
called
Splat.
Splat. Okay.
With an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Did you get hit by a bus?
No.
Not gonna tell ya.
Okay.
What is? Do you have a
It's really
favorite
good.
episode?
That's probably it,
Splat's your favorite?
honestly.
It was
Wow.
the first one you saw, and it's your favorite episode.
It's not the first one I saw, maybe, but it was one of the ones I watched out of order as well.
Okay.
I probably watched after college it like kind of straight through most of the ways. And then I watched it again straight through when I got the job. And it really does kind of like change for you, like when you're in a different place
Oh,
of life. And
yeah.
I was living
Yeah.
in New York now. And like, it really is different every time, I think. Even though it's exactly the same.
What about you?
First time was I was at a summer camp for like gifted theater arts people in
course.
Richmond. And all of the suite mates were like, okay. And then I told them I had not watched it yet. And Alex was her name. And it's interesting. A lot of Jewish families watched it as families.
Sex and the City.
Sex in the City. A lot of
We've
our
had a
guests
couple-
that like watch it as a family when it was on in 1998. Like no matter how old they were, they watched it together as a family.
A lot of Christian parents were like, "This is the end of the world." My God.
I know, but she was Jewish, and she's like, "Oh my God, our family watches this. You gotta." So we like closed this off, got pizza, and I think I started season 5 was the episode.
Okay.
I had like, and so I was like, so then I watched it like in and out of order. Then I went to like tech for a year before I came to New York, and every suite mate had a box set. So I got all of it a little out of order, and then I went through all in order. But I never told you this, but do you know? So this is a spoiler. It's first movie. I was called in for a role in the first movie
What?
for something, and then I'm actually in the first movie in the
Really?
background.
Whoa.
You can see me on
Told me you were
screen.
called in for something.
I was called in. Well, I don't know if I can tell them because it won't really.
You can.
Opening credits. Carrie passes the 4 younger versions of her and
Oh,
herself.
you did tell me this.
I auditioned
Yeah.
for. They had me called in for Carrie
Carrie.
Bradshaw, but
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
too
you did
tall.
tell me that.
Amazing.
Younger Carrie Bradshaw, the younger updated version Carrie Bradshaw.
That's
I'm
good.
literally 2 of her. She's so tiny.
Really?
She
She's a
small
fits
lady.
in my wine glass.
We did meet her
Wow.
We've met her
Not too long ago.
yeah.
Where'd
Really?
you meet her?
at her shoe store.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you gotta get
I've-
in there.
I've heard
Guys,
she's,
you
like,
gotta
there.
get in
Was it a
there.
random meeting or was it a stakeout?
We knew she was there.
You follow her shoe
her
line.
Insta, yeah.
Yeah, her
I
Insta
thought
and
you
then
meant
the.
follow her in real life, like stalk her.
That's very easy
See
to
her
do.
on the
Follow her
sidewalk.
We
around.
could
That's a
help
good
you
way to
with
meet her
that.
Where
as
she's
well, yeah.
going.
That's another
Yeah.
way,
Oh, you guys, she would. Yeah, she appreciates it for sure. Yeah, totally.
Or she's a really good actress, as is Cynthia Nixon. I feel like when we've met them and been like, oh my God, we do the bus tour, they're so sweet about it. But in reality, they're probably like, oh my God, like in our neighborhoods, a bus drives around every day.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did
With
that though.
50 people.
They did that. They did that, and we're just
You
waves.
asked
We're
for it.
I know
waves.
you can't.
We're the ripples.
You can't cash the
They're the
cash the
butterfly
royalty
effect.
They're
check.
Scrooge McDucking and all of their cash right now.
Yeah.
With the bus driving by.
Now, gentlemen, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Since watching the show, have you had a New York experience where like that was a Sex in the City moment for me?
Ooh,
That's
a good
great.
question.
Have you been like, oh my God, this would maybe happen on the show?
We went to Steve's bar for a Cynthia Nixon fundraiser and talked to Cynthia Nixon there.
Wow. How
I
was
think
that?
that's like a 12 Monkeys, like that's like a worlds upon worlds falling in on each other
Mm-hmm.
thing. So that's not really, that's like a meta version of a Sex and the City moment.
I feel like
I definitely
just
had one with Kevin. We went to like the release of Budweiser's new combo
That
beer.
was absolutely.
like where like Budweiser and Jim Beam came out with this new beer,
Stop it.
and the 2 of us went with our friend Jackie, who's been on the show.
And she's a PR person, so she
Yeah,
got
she,
us into
gets
this
us
party
into really cool parties.
at the Campbell apartment at Grand Central, which
Yeah.
is like
I've never been. Is it stunning?
it's stunning, amazing, and
And, like,
we got to go and everything was
the
free.
brass from Budweiser was there, like all the executives,
The heads of
and of
Budweiser.
course
Wow.
our friend just gets absolutely blackout drunk and makes a complete clown of himself.
Yeah.
And gets kicked out.
In the party, slams a beer on the ground, and then we get escorted out.
You Judas'd him. The guy was like, "Do you know that guy?" And you were like, "No, never met him before in my life."
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then-
Actually, if
and
I
then
can
we,
break
like-
in real quick, as a religion minor in college, that's not Judasing, that's Petering.
No, sorry. Yeah.
Judas was like, I do know him. I'm going to kiss him on the
Yes.
cheek
No,
and
you're
hand
right.
him over.
No, you're
I
right.
went to Catholic
you
Peter
school.
denied him 3
You
times.
petered him.
Anyway,
Sorry.
keep going.
That's
Keep going.
funny.
It's so funny. It's Peter.
It was Peter.
That's so funny.
I know. There
And
were
that's
so
how
many
Peter
mad
finds his
people in their
redemption.
cars just now. They're like,
Goodness.
"Yes, Petering." Thanks,
It's,
Corey.
it's great storytelling. It is.
Well, when we were on the street, then we just like all the entire group just like disintegrated on the street of people like yelling and friends being like, "I'm going home," and like it ended with us being like, "Maybe you shouldn't drink too much." I don't know, but we definitely that
I
was
couldn't help but wonder.
absolutely.
What if he
wonder.
didn't get so wasted and
Yeah.
on the back?
Yeah.
And then you
By the
held
way,
his hair back
can
as
you
he
blame
threw
him
up on
for
the
getting
curb.
drunk at a
It was very
Budweiser
kind
party?
to you.
I kind of feel like the way that we started this podcast was sort of a Sex and the City moment, where it was that same friend who got them into that party. She got John and I into a party at the
Who is this friend?
yeah, right.
I
We'll
My-
hook you up with it.
okay.
It's the Q Hotel, or it's some hotel on 54th and Broadway or 55th and Broadway, and they
Not
opened
the
it.
Dream.
It is the Dream Hotel.
There
It's the
you
Dream
go.
Hotel, and they opened a
Uh-huh.
lounge on the roof called like
Yes.
the Q Lounge or
Yes,
something like that.
it-
So John and I got to go to the Q Lounge opening, and we get there, and there's literally a line around the block. John and I are wearing probably what you see us now. Like we're just wearing like t-shirts and pants.
Get it.
When I go to parties, I don't try to mingle. I just stand where the wait staff is coming out with the hors d'oeuvres, and I just clear the plates before anyone else can get them. So that's what I do at parties.
You were very
really
good at
funny.
strategy
Perfect.
for
Very
that.
strategic about how to eat all the burgers.
But we got there and the guy's like, "What are you guys here for?" And then we were like, "We're here with this PR company." He's like, "Oh my gosh, right this way." And they took us upstairs. So we were like ahead of everyone else. But then we had like tons of fancy drinks. And then Kevin got into the
And
party.
I biked there, so I was in a nice outfit ish, but
Sweating.
I was sweating everywhere.
A little bit
So-
late, like Carrie would be. Great,
Exactly.
great.
And then
okay.
we had like a full night of like the party like got like bumping. And then we just like walked around, got free food and drinks. And then we left and we went to Hell's Kitchen to an Irish bar, had like
Just
8 more drinks,
We had
and then
6
went
more
to
drinks because we each did a Guinness and a Jameson.
Yeah, and then we went and got pizza after that, and then these guys tried to steal me and Kevin's bikes because we had my bike, and then some random guy came out and helped
Quentin T.
us,
Thomas.
Quentin T. Thomas.
Look them up on Instagram.
And then that whole time we were like, we love Sex in the City. We all realized that about each other, and then we came up with the idea for the podcast. But it was like a real like friend bonding moment. And I guess the 4th girl would have been Quentin T. Thomas. He would have been Samantha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had to have
guys,
more.
like
Gotta have
that's
more.
very much like in bed episode.
Yeah, that is
Oh.
That
bad.
was yeah, but you
You'll
wait
get
for
to
it.
it.
You'll
Oh,
get to
yeah,
it. You'll
yeah.
be like,
Can't wait.
oh
Well,
man.
speaking
Can't
of,
wait.
we're watching the season 1.
Season
Season
3.
Season 3. I'm sorry, first episode of season 3.
Great.
We're setting
Can't
it
wait.
off.
Familiar with? Have you seen it before? Of
I
course
have.
you have.
All right, so we'll
It's
watch
so
it and then
fun.
we'll come on back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be back.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Episode 31 Where There's Smoke. Carrie meets a politician at a FDNY calendar benefit on Staten Island. Miranda gets help from Steve after she undergoes LASIK eye surgery. Tired of waiting for a fairy tale romance, Charlotte begins aggressively searching for a Prince Charming to marry. Samantha dates the pinup-boy fireman she met at the benefit. And now, back to the boys.
And we're back. Where there's smoke. Kevin was gonna come in. Kevin, look, come in.
Come in.
Come in like
Well,
you were
I
gonna
was
come in.
I was posting on the Insta. You know, there's this.
You were
is-
looking on your phone while we were
How do
recording.
you
were
how
keeping
do
up
you
with social media.
delegate
You're
Insta duties, or is just he's,
Kevin runs
Kevin
our
does it
Instagram. I
Instagram.
run our Twitter.
I
Kevin
do
is very
Facebook,
active.
And I don't do much.
Yeah.
I'm bad
I
at
mean,
it.
Facebook should go away, so it's okay.
I agree. It's awful.
yeah.
Yeah, I
John is a Russian bot that runs our Facebook.
Ah, nice.
I just try and just do a post whenever I think of it. But then it's crazy. You have to be so focused on it. I should put an alarm that's just like a 5-minute thing. Because imagine
dude.
all the stupid things that I use on my phone. But
I just got an alarm to remind me to drink water. So you should definitely get an alarm to remind you to post.
John used
We
to
need
text me.
alarms.
John
We need
used to text
alarms.
me every morning when I was at work to drink water,
and eat roughage.
eat roughage.
Yeah.
To keep
Do you guys need
myself-
that text?
I
Yeah.
love drinking
What's
water
roughage?
now. I'm like in it. I
You
do
want a
like
roughage? You want a
shot-
roughage
You want a
reminder?
roughage reminder?
I
you
would
need
love
to eat
a
roughage.
roughage reminder.
All right,
Is there
give
an
me your
app?
number when you leave.
Oh
I'll
my
give
god,
you a
yeah.
roughage
The app
reminder.
is-
Please just text me.
Roughage reminder. Any of you listeners out there want a roughage
That's a
reminder? Just hit me
side-
up.
Side hustle is like roughage apps.
what is roughage?
I don't know.
Roughage is
What?
like leafy greens.
Leafy greens,
Kale?
kale.
It scrapes you out, man.
Roughage.
This is a really
Roughage.
sexy episode.
Roughage.
right
It's
now.
roughage.
We just say roughage.
Roughage?
How do you spell that?
Why are you
Roughage,
calling
that's
it
the
roughage?
one Ninja Turtle
'Cause
that
it's-
didn't make it. Roughage.
It's pronounced roughage. RUFFIAGE. Roughage.
I don't think I've ever heard that word.
Wait, are you being serious right now?
Yes.
It's ROUGHAGE. Roughage.
If Carrie was a
FUCKY.
lamb, what would she be?
What is roughage? I want to know what that is.
I don't know
Hey,
which one
Google
it
out.
is.
It's how you pronounce that. Roughage.
Also, get Google out. Who's ever said that sentence? You get Google out, turn on the Yahoo, and eat your roughage.
And take your Flintstone vitamins.
Jeeves.
I'm gonna come in with a quick story while
Please.
you're doing your you got your Google out.
Don't call it phones anymore. It's just
Where there's smoke, on Tuesday morning at 4:45
great.
a.m.,
Great.
my wife and I woke up, and our next door neighbors that we share a wall with in our apartment, their apartment was burning down to the ground.
Oh my god.
Full burn,
Same building.
screams, broken glass, 12 fire trucks, babies getting passed through windows. We got out of there, and we watched our apartment building burn. I was really worried that our apartment was going to burn. Told my wife, expect the worst. Luckily, we just have some bad smoke smells. It was one of the craziest experiences of my life, and I will point out, every single fireman that was there, extremely good looking. Extremely good looking.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you prepped for this episode with that.
Yeah,
So I'm
my
glad-
wife was sitting there just like going through the Rolodex
That's
of her single friends and being like,
crazy.
oh my gosh, I wish she was here. I wish she was here. That guy was so nice and so cute. I wish she was here. And it was crazy.
That thing that they did in the show, by the way, I just looked it up. Roughage, not a word. Anyway,
Okay.
back on the
You-
show.
you have
now.
ash in
I'm
your
sure
face.
they've
Get out
used-
the Google and Google wrong. Okay, it's not a word. But the thing
It's your
there was a
Instagram.
moment where they talked about firefighters. We'll get to. We always do a summary of the episode. We'll get that in a second. But the moment where they talked about like they are handsome.
Yes.
They like
Saving.
Oh, they're saving.
Yes.
They always have that look in their eye where they want to help. All of that, I was like, that's a very good breakdown of firefighters. I was thinking of a friend of mine that's a firefighter in North Carolina, and him and I used to live together, and I was like, he is handsome, and he always had the best intentions. He has like 3 kids now. He owns a side business. He's like the best guy. And I was like, yeah,
He
this
wants
is
to help, save, protect. I
I
mean,
think it's
I
hit
love
or
firefighters.
miss.
really?
Really?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of unattractive firefighters.
Oh, okay, you're going on.
And then there's guys who like kind of just want to like get away from their families because it is a good lifestyle for that. Aren't you like 4 days on
That's
and then
true.
you go
You work
home
for-
or whatever?
yeah.
Which that sounds fun to me. I wish I could be like a comedian 24/7, 3 days a week, and then I
Yeah.
could just go and
And while you're not
not
performing,
talk to
you just
anyone.
hang out with all your other comedian friends
Exactly, and we just live in a house.
just
Yeah,
watch-
and like
down
if a show
poles.
comes up, it comes up, and if not, we
Exactly.
just hang. Yeah,
Only they and then they actually get like benefits and
right.
security.
Yes. Except we have health insurance, so it's crazy.
Also,
Yeah.
you know, this is true. The only facial hair a firefighter is allowed to have is a mustache because your mask covers that.
No
That's
way.
why
Daniel.
firefighters have mustaches because you can't have
Has
beards or
Tom
anything
Selleck
like that.
done a
I don't
lot
know.
of
That makes
fireman
sense.
Google
movies?
that. Get your Google out.
Get your
I don't-
Google out.
Get out
Get
the
my
Google.
I believe
on
that.
my Google
roughage.com.
off.
Kevin, you're a little salty of that. Are you
I'm not salty. I'm honestly, I'm not angry about the situation. I'm baffled because I think I've said the word roughage for years, and there's
In
not
what
even a deep
situation?
meaning.
I
It's
said, like,
literally
Stonehenge.
doesn't even.
I've never heard this.
What do I said? Stonehenge? I said that forever.
I was gonna say
But
there's
I
How
things-
often are you saying Stonehenge? Like,
I
when are you
don't
guys
know.
saying these words?
It's Stonehenge.
Well, don't
right?
forget I have a roughage reminder.
And what does it remind? Just eat something
hey.
green.
Hey, stop what you're doing And just think about maybe
Eat
your
some
next
carrots.
meal, get some roughage.
That's
Get some
nice.
fiber in there.
John,
Scrape that out.
whenever you would text me that, I would at least crack a can of seltzer and like chug it, or I would go get some water. It would help. It really
How'd you
helped.
spell refuge on your reminder?
I think the correct way. The way that didn't have
Good
the
call,
red
good call.
squiggly lines under it, which refuge.
When I go back
Right.
and I listen to this, just the confidence with which I spelled it in my head was just like, "Fuck you, Corey. Here's the word." And when I put that in Google, it didn't even say, "Did you mean this?" It was just
No, I
like,
know it didn't do
it's
it
like,
at all.
"Hey, man, I don't know what." So
But we've
Oh,
talked about
boy.
that before in our relationship, where that I admire that about you, that you will headlong walk into a wrong thing with full confidence, but like you do it and then you own it afterwards.
Hey.
Where I will back up and I'll be like, I'm not sure, and
Slow
it's like
clap.
own it.
Yeah,
so
because
it's
there's some
good.
people that
clap.
like sit there and try to defend it, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? If you're gonna walk
You'll do
headlong
it.
into it, like at least admit when you're wrong. And I
And
like that.
I admire that you'll walk headlong into it, because I would be like, I'm not sure, even if I am right. So
We're just
I admire
learning
that.
stuff about each other in this
We really
podcast
are.
thing.
I
This
mean,
is more about
that's
friends.
the show's about friends, though. It's about
It is about
relationships. It
friends.
is. My God.
Let's
it's going to be legendary. The roughage episode of this is gonna, when it's scripted.
That was,
All right,
that
go
was
ahead.
my splat of the Bradshaw Boys.
Refuge is our
Refuge.
version of Samantha in a firehouse while the firemen are going away.
Dreams.
All right, you do the rundown.
I'm trying to think about how to do a rundown. This one's pretty
This is
tricky. It's like Carrie, essentially the through question is like, what if your Prince Charming never shows up? Do women just want to be rescued? Is that like kind of
That's her column. What her column's going to be about.
but I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what the
That's kind of what the show is
Sure,
about.
that's
rescue,
sort
but
of-
also I feel like, the needing of rescue. But like, does Charlotte need to be rescued, or she thinks
Well,
she does?
Charlotte
Charlotte's
entire
series.
series rescued,
Her
and then
fairy
she
tale.
finds out that the
And
dude
Samantha's
that
more of a fantasy.
yeah,
She just wants
Samantha.
a
The rescuing
Yeah.
fantasy, the rescuing reality.
Yeah.
And then Miranda is getting rescued. So I would say that's a thread.
And then traveling to Staten Island, you're going to need some kind of
Rescue.
magical
Yeah.
help of some
Pumpkin.
sort.
I will
What's
say
it?
I love Staten Island Charlotte. I mentioned to you guys out there, Staten Island
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte is like my favorite version. of
Well,
Charlotte
this is
we've
you
ever
guys
seen.
will
We've
get
been
to some more
craving it.
episodes.
You get
When
more of that.
Charlotte leaves the city, she
What?
goes wild.
Yeah.
Where'd she
Just
go?
wait.
Wait
I don't
for
want
it,
to tell
man.
you
Why
anything.
is that not a spinoff?
I didn't even fucking.
Charlotte
Oh my
goes
God,
wild.
Charlotte is like a travel adventure.
out.
She is such a woo girl. That is
She
so
Yeah.
true.
is.
Guys,
Only
wait
when
till
she
you
leaves.
watch the movie. Like
That,
God,
the
wooing
Hamptons.
the wooing never leaves. So there's a lot of wooing from
in
Charlotte.
season-
What did you
Okay.
call her, John? What did you call her
Atlantic
dance?
City.
I called it the Cougar Swoop. You know, it's like when you're at like a Jimmy Buffett concert and there's like the woman who holds the beer over her head. She's intoxicated.
And the head goes
And, like, the
down.
head goes down.
It's down.
And then there's, like, this
Eyes are
one,
I am a
There's, like,
Midwestern
this-
mother,
yeah, there's, like,
and
this one
yeah,
drop
I'll
of
do
the
that.
hips where they swoop it up and then they come back and they just keep doing it back and
the
forth.
Cougar Swoop.
Totally.
Cougar Swoop.
Love.
It looks like so much fun when she was doing it. I was like, I want to feel like that.
Question for you guys: is this I don't remember. Is this the first time you've seen her cut loose?
She went pretty crazy in the Hamptons a couple episodes ago where she
got
met with like
crabs.
20
She got
something year
crabs.
old.
That's-
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's
Oh,
when
she
she
got
leaves
crabs.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she went a little nuts there. I think there was there one other time she got hammered or something like that? I feel like she's cut loose a little.
We don't see them dance a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It was fun seeing them dance.
Yeah, and lots of Donna Summers, and like
Yes.
all that disco like makes its way through a lot
It's
of
really
the
fun.
show.
Really?
But you'll
Interesting.
get repeats
Because it's
of
written
disco.
by gay men.
Yeah,
It's very obvious in a lot of
Yeah.
points of the show.
it's so much.
Have you guys spent much time in Staten Island?
No.
Ferry's so much fun.
I've only
shot
done the Ferry.
like a small film, like a
Okay.
student film there. and
Great
then that was
restaurant
it.
out there.
Yeah, first of all, if you're a visitor coming to New York and you just want like a decent experience,
Yeah.
I think taking the Staten Island ferry
100%.
to Staten Island, coming back, great view of the city, good view of Statue of Liberty, really free.
Free,
Yeah.
and
Really
you
free.
can
Extra
buy
free.
and you can buy
Pirate ship
beers on it.
photos.
So you can
buy
get
beers
it.
on
You
it.
can get a
It could be
drink.
indoors, outdoors.
Yeah, indoor outdoor.
Where-
You can look
the
at
restaurant you're talking about, is that in Ateca Maria?
Yes.
Great restaurant.
One
Is
of the
it
best
Is it
restaurants in the
Italian?
city. Yes, it's
I
Italian.
heard. Yeah.
And they have a different grandmother cooks in the kitchen each time.
I had a
each
friend
night.
go recently. They had a Japanese grandmother that they were
Whoa.
hosting.
Yeah.
She
Cool.
cooked like Japanese food and Italian food.
And so you
Great.
can get, they do their own special dishes. The grandma will come around and say hi to everyone. The dude, it's like a passion project of his, and he just like blasts Led Zeppelin like a little too loud for a nice restaurant. And he like will
Perfection.
come over and give you like limoncello and be like, it's just this dude that I think had this job for a long time and his dream was to open up this restaurant. It's such good food.
You don't call them grandmas over there. They're nonas.
Nonas.
They're
That's what it is.
nonas.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then do you have to take a cab like to Nona's from
No,
the ferry?
you
Or
get
is it
off
like,
the ferry.
You can actually
and it's
walk
like
up the
a
hill, yeah.
2-minute walk.
Oh,
that's
That's why
great.
it's such a perfect
Melissa,
night.
we
I've gone a
gotta
few
go.
times.
I would do this.
honestly.
Did we go?
Should we do a Sex and the City
I didn't
group
go with you
in
guys.
a Teca Maria
Field
trip?
trip.
I'm not kidding. I'm in.
We could do a live
1000%.
one.
We could do a
fun.
live
That'd be
pod from
so
Inateca Maria.
fun.
That'd be great.
But it is awesome to see the city from afar.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really
And
great.
in the show. And as a New Yorker, it's like you forget it's beautiful. You forget it's magnificent. It's this castle.
Yeah.
Ooh, getting saved.
And
That's
the
what I
other-
loved. I loved that line. That's like, I was like, can you? She's like, it's so small. Miranda said, I can't believe that all of our ex-boyfriends can fit on there.
Yeah,
that was a
It's
great
tiny.
one. That was
So
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
But the Staten Island Ferry too, like, is just iconic in itself. To,
Yeah.
like, take that back. And
You know what's
forth.
iconic is the the guy that was driving it one time a few years ago and then just ran it in. He fell asleep and then just ran it into the side of Manhattan.
Yeah, totally.
And he got fired.
don't
Poor guy. That's what I would.
remember
That's
that.
what I would do if I was
That's
Staten Island Ferry.
Tons of people got like injured on it.
Oh my God.
Like my phone just now.
Oh, you just dropped your
Did you
phone.
just drop your Google? Get you,
my
don't
Google
drop
machine.
your
Okay, so we
Google
start
machine.
out the episode beginning of season 3. They're on the Staten Island Ferry. They're going to a fireman's like
calendar photo shoot.
so they're like dancing on the stage.
They get to
Yeah,
judge
and
the dancers.
Carrie meets a politician. I believe he's running for comptroller of
John
Manhattan.
Slattery.
Hey.
I don't know who
Okay.
that is, but
He's in
you guys-
Mad Men.
I love
He
him
plays Roger Sterling in
a
Mad Men,
lot.
and he plays a lot of things. He's a fantastic actor.
We ran into
Silver
him
Fox.
on my bus tour on the
Damn.
street. I would say this is my least professional moment that I've had in front of a group of people ever, because I freaked out.
Did people lose their minds on the bus tour?
No,
What?
no
What?
one gave a shit.
He used to.
No one
I used to
gave a
work on
shit.
this. I used to work on this TV show for MTV, and our offices were at Hudson and Houston. And Slattery, I think, lives down there. Or used to live down there.
Girl.
But
No,
he would
there you go.
always
That's where we
be
hang out
riding
now.
a city bike. And one day he would ride it the wrong way up the sidewalk. And our showrunner would always see him.
Roger,
boner's
come
gone.
on.
I know,
What are you doing?
I know. But he would always ride it the wrong way the sidewalk. And our showrunner would always kind of look at him and be like, "Oh my gosh, that's John Slattery." And he waved at her one day. And for the end of the season, her assistant gave her a picture of John Slattery on a city bike and set it on her desk. And that's
That's
great.
hilarious.
But it's just funny
Yeah.
to think of really suave, hot celebrities completely disobeying traffic rules.
Yeah.
Just
And on
riding
the
bikes up
worst
sidewalk.
bike you could
I think if I
possibly
became
ride.
a
Yeah.
celebrity, that'd be the first thing I would do.
I think
just
it's- yeah,
stop
sure.
ignoring traffic.
Ignoring laws in general, honestly.
He's
yeah.
period. He is just that. Also, it's crazy because now, before, there's so many people we've seen on the show that it's like, who is that guy? Who's that guy become? And you just think about if one little casting thing went different, then he'd be like that guy. And instead, it's fucking iconic Roger from Mad Men.
Yeah.
He's the exact same character. He has
is.
no range as an actor, and that doesn't matter.
And it
He's
doesn't
perfect.
matter.
He's still.
It's
yeah.
like an
I still wanna hear him
extremely
talk.
charged sexual presence, no matter what he does, as long as he's in a suit. But
And
honestly,
happily married
bas-
to the same woman for
and
35
she's
years.
awesome too.
And she
Mona.
gets
She's on
charged
Mad Men,
every
too.
day. Good
Oh,
for her.
She's a fantastic
God.
Guys,
actress.
the
She's
creators of Mad Men
incredible.
are creating a new show, and he's in it. Have
I
you seen,
saw
have you
that,
seen
and I
that?
haven't heard
Romanovs?
good things about it.
Yeah.
The
Romanovs.
You've heard good things?
You've heard good
No.
things? Oh shit! Oh no!
But I don't know. I love Matthew Weiner. I love what he does.
Yeah, I was happy to see Roger, and it looks like we're going to get a little more John Slattery
I
throughout
think so.
Yeah.
the series.
Oh yeah.
Okay, wait.
Da-da-da-da.
So wait,
Guys,
what
wait
else
for it.
happens in the show?
All right, plow through this.
feel like there's so much to talk
she
about.
meets him at the Staten Island party. Charlotte gets wasted. Samantha meets Lou Ferrigno, the
Basically, Lou
firefighter.
Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk from the
Ricky.
70s.
Just a very simple Ricky fireman. Fantastic. And
Guys, was it fun to see him dance and then hear him talk?
yes,
Was
it
it
was
so
it was
fun?
so
Isn't
I
that so
love,
His
fun?
I
cadence.
love that guy.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, his character was
Oh.
really fun. Props
'Cause
to that guy.
Yeah, you think it's gonna be this macho, and it's like, my sisters told me to dance,
Yeah.
so it's
I love
gonna
he says the
dance.
same line twice. I never did
He's like-
anything like this. And
Yeah.
I said,
That
"I
guy
never
was
did
very
anything
endearing.
like this." It
Yeah.
was so cute.
So then
So
they all
cute.
start talking about fantasies and being saved, and Miranda has to go get LASIK eye surgery. She needs someone to come pick her up. Carrie's supposed to do it, but she
Flakes.
flakes and
For a
Steve,
writing deadline.
for a
Shut-
writing deadline.
I know that's kind of
Selfish.
And
She's never writing on the show.
Steve picks her up instead. And then meanwhile, Samantha hooks up with the fireman and wants her firefighter fantasy. So she goes to the firehouse and has a very epic scene there. And
And Samantha or
Charlotte
thinks she finds a guy because he defends her honor, and then he ends up being a dude that just picks fights with everybody.
love that guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took down JJ real fast.
Yeah.
Sweet Lips. Sweet Lips and Blondie.
Sweet Lips.
You know, it's so
Defend
funny.
my honor.
This is such a. Here's a good question to ask you ladies, because the guy, I liked the guy at first. I didn't like that he said sweet lips, but I was like, I'll give the guy a chance. And then he definitely, when he came back the second time, definitely a creep. But then John Slattery, okay, he pulls up, he does the countdown. So explain as what rules and what your experiences have been with this line between being pursued and being creepy, which is so thin, and what do you do?
And it could probably
about
change a lot depending on the guy.
It's
Totally.
attractiveness.
That
It's
is
sad.
it.
It's sad. It's attractive. Like, am I physically attracted? Is this creepy?
Wanted attention versus unwanted
If
attention.
we role reversaled those two, Jesus, she would have called the cops by now.
that? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's just-
you
it's
cast them differently. Yeah, and like if John Slattery was the one who like, hey, sweet lips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
people
so.
would have we would have given the time.
Yeah.
Those sweet lips is particularly gross. And I
It's
think
disgusting.
as
Yeah.
much as I love John, I would give John Slattery a pass for the sweet lips comment, but I don't think any other man.
But I
Fair.
think like what you said is
Fair.
wanted attention versus unwanted attention. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just
'Cause-
what's funny is that it's that guy that it's like, let's take sweet lips off. If he wouldn't have said sweet lips, it's still, you see him, and the second he came on, we as a viewer know, we're like, oh, he's a doofus.
Yeah.
You know what
And
role
just
he is in the show. He's
sleaze.
not.
Yeah.
Immediate, well casted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just, it's always, I haven't been single for a while, so I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice to not have to always be processing that of being like, be forward, but be cool, and also lay back, and all, it's.
I'm sure that's a lot.
It's got to be a lot. It's got to be a lot.
but we have that same thing too.
Yeah, everybody. I
Yeah.
feel
I
like
just
you're
think bars are a terrible place to meet people.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of
Disagree.
where you
just kidding.
disagree.
I mean, kind of.
Oh God.
No, you're
but
probably
but,
right.
Like,
You're
I feel
right.
like the men that you've been. This is such a generalization, so I'm gonna not
really
say it out
excited to
loud.
hear
Nope,
what you
I'm not gonna
say.
say it anymore.
Buckle up.
But it's
Buckle
usually
up.
like it's like an acquaintance, like someone knows somebody of somebody.
Totally.
It's not a rando
I am a
I've never
lazy
seen in your life.
dater.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's been a couple of those, but yeah, I'm very. It's
like
a lot of
someone's
times in
associated
circles.
with someone else. It's like
Totally.
cousin's best friend's roommate, and so it's like, yeah, of course, there's going to be some common.
I like to
thread there.
ruin relationships that I have
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
sleeping with people that I.
it's-
adjacently now.
You know,
Yeah.
though, you got to have a good group of friends, and they're going to introduce you to a good group of boys, men.
There you
Having
go.
a one single connection helps avoid the whole creep factor like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh, I can't embarrass myself in front, or else like my one friend's gonna know
Right.
that I was. You know what I mean?
It does
like
raise the stakes.
it's
Have,
raises the
have
stakes a
any
bit.
of you gentlemen ever like never knew the girl at the bar, made a play, and got it?
At a bar?
At
At
a bar.
like they were at a bar now. They were at a bar. It's two women.
I don't
I've
think
been
that's any of our
pursued at
game.
bars by strangers
That's-
when I'm trying to have a conversation, and it's just like,
I think John's right. That's none of our game. I have gone
Yeah.
up and talked to a woman at a bar and like had a good conversation and had a like, hey, but nothing came of it.
right.
I've had a thing where it's like, oh, we went and like I think there. Do you remember the night? There was a night that Kevin and we went to a show at UCB. We were standing.
The girls on the
The
street.
girls on the street. We were standing in the road and we were going to get a drink somewhere. Basically, we were like, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you guys want to go get a drink? And they came and met us at a bar.
Hey.
And then it turned it turned into four friends. And I don't even think they were from here. I think
They
they
were
like
from England because we
That's right.
saw who's
Oh.
that British?
we saw Simon Amstel.
Yeah.
We saw Simon Amstel do like an hour stand up.
And there was two of us. There was three of us. There was one other person with us.
Rich
It was
was with
Rich.
us.
And so there were three
Rich
guys.
was with us, and we watched the guy. This is such a long tangent story, but we watched this guy get cut off in traffic, and we watched a dad with major anger management issues pull up beside the cab and just look the cab in the eyes and go, "Hey, did you like that? Go ahead." And then the guy's son in the passenger seat was just going, "Dad, stop it, please."
Oh
and
my
then
God.
the dad kept like he had that look in his eyes that he was about to explode. And then our friend Rich saw it happen. And then Rich,
I have the
beside-
picture.
Wait till you see the picture. And then the guy, Rich, like ran up and was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And then the guy started looking at our friend Rich, trying to egg him on. The dad was just like
I
the
just
guy
sent
that
it to
Charlotte
my
was
friend
That's
with.
the other
basically
day.
Charlotte's
It
boyfriend.
was basically Charlotte's boyfriend. This guy
evolved,
just
yeah.
wanted to fight everybody. And
This
his
is the
son,
actual picture that I took because I just sent it to Rich the other day because I found it. That's the actual picture.
We're looking
That
at a
is-
picture
looks
here.
from like 2001.
That guy looks like Guy Fieri.
Put it on
He
the
looks
Sex
like
and the
Guy
City.
Fieri mixed
The
with like Billy
hairstyle.
Idol.
That's so funny. That
And
was
his
that night.
and his son was like, "Dad, please don't do this." It was
Yeah.
really it was
Oh,
kind of sad.
geez.
But
That was the night that I remember talking before. I was like, should we just ask it? There's 3 of us, and I just did, and then we went and had a great time, and
it was literally, it wasn't creepy. It was just like, "Oh, you guys are in town from London. That's cool." It just, there was nobody peeled off and had a drink and made out. It was just kind of like, "Hey, we're all hanging out here."
Europeans and Australians and Canadians are just like
They
chill.
were on a
They're
gap
just
year.
chill.
Yeah.
They're on a
Chill.
gap year,
Then
they
the
wanna
gap year,
hang.
then that gap year.
Exactly.
Holiday.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
holiday.
I think you're right. That's not any of our games to be like,
No.
"Hold the phone, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over there."
What about you two? Has that? Do you get approached just randomly at bars a lot, and does it work out?
It never does. No.
I don't think it's by the guys that you want to be approached by the majority of the time.
Maybe if they were,
Right.
we would approach and like we were both volunteering at the same time and we struck up conversations
Yeah, yeah.
sober and like doing an activity. Great. But I'm there with a person to talk to this person that I haven't
Sure.
seen in a while, and then they think, oh no, this is the right time. It's ladies' night. Just like how like Charlotte and Carrie are there like to talk, but then Charlotte's like also on the hunt. And so it's like whew,
I'm sure
no,
it's
no.
happened.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I don't know if it's because you were saying that's not our game. You guys are in comedy and theater and stuff. I don't know if any of us are the personalities that are like, I go out to bars to hunt for relationships.
Yeah,
like
but
I think
Cody
that
doesn't.
everyone kind of does that a little bit, but I don't feel like we're the kind of people that are like, what do you do? Well, I work my job and I go out at night and I go to bars.
do you remember a
freaking
few
hunt.
like 6 months ago? Apparently, like Union Pool went viral because
Yes.
people talked about the times they
Well,
hooked
that's
up in Union Pool.
entirely true.
The glory days of
I,
Union
I was like,
Zowie,
if I
what?
would, I've been to Union Pool before. I was like, did I know that this could happen?
It's a very horny place.
I do feel like it was, yeah.
Where
What's
is
funny
Union
is the
Pool?
only time I ever went is I went and saw a stand-up show there, and then I never hung out, and it was the most like non-horny thing.
That
but I do feel
comedy
like
really dries everything
Dries out the
up.
vagina. That's
There's
true.
nothing
Wait, is that
No
the
one-
place
that
in
will
Park Slope
suck
or
the
Williamsburg?
sexual
Williamsburg.
tension.
You're thinking of Union Hall.
Union Hall.
Union Pool is the one right by the
I do know
BQE.
Union Pool. Is
Yeah,
it near a
not
place
horny.
called Gutter?
It's kind of near the
Not
gutter,
far
yeah.
from
Okay.
It's like on the corner.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's right
like
near
a
the
big
BQE.
backyard with like
There's
a
like
taco
a-
truck.
All right.
Teal
Yeah, it's pretty.
thing.
It's
I-
hot. It's a lot
A
of
friend of
hormones in
mine, who's married, she's like a successful photographer, and she went there one time and said that she was walking out. She's like in her 30s and was walking out, and some like guy who was like 24-year-old hipster guy was like, "Hey, what's up?" and tried to hit on her, and then the bouncer was like, "Hey, dude, chill out," and then that guy left, and then the bouncer looked at her and was like, "So what's up?" And she was like, "Are you kidding me?"
God.
So it's definitely got that.
It's
It's a
got that
decent
vibe.
play. Assert your authority to get the
I mean, I
youngling
guess-
out of there.
yeah.
then?
It's
You know
kind
what?
of like
You're
the
right.
Charlotte punching in the face thing.
Exactly.
You
True,
didn't
yeah.
have to do anything.
That's true. But that guy just ended up being, he was like finance bro that was just raging. He just wanted to like
Yeah.
totally.
When he goes after the waitress in the restaurant, which is Blue Water Grill across.
That's where that was.
Yeah.
across from
coffee shop.
coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's closing.
Coffee shop.
Union
closing
Square.
soon.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's a little intense.
We need to talk Steve.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it time to talk, Steve?
I think
time to
I
talk
think it
Steve?
might be time to talk Steve.
I wish. Is there like a sound effect from when you guys talk about Steve?
There is a sound
There is.
effect.
We do so in our podcast. We do a podcast within a podcast. The second podcast is actually called Steve Talk, and we're gonna go ahead and start that right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Steve Talk.
It's a favorite time. It's a favorite guy. It's Steve Talk.
Miranda.
Oh my god!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Steve Talk, a podcast where we talk about Steve.
Snapping my fingers.
Okay, I
in
will say,
applause.
first of all, one disappointing thing, because for a while we didn't know. Now it said guest starring David Eidenberg.
David Eigenberg.
And so we knew he was going to be it from the beginning, and that ruined the surprise.
Does
Oh
that ruin it for you guys? Do you like check out the names and you're like, oh well?
no, I don't do.
boy.
I don't do that. I've never done
No,
it.
I
he's
actually-
in this one.
I actually
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
that. I do that with like all shows that I watch, and I'm doing it now to a point where I saw, I don't know if this has happened before, but this said producer Sarah Jessica Parker, and I was like, oh, the show's changing.
She got
She's
some
a
more money
producer now.
She's
started
from day
season
one.
Season
Has she
3,
been a
she
producer?
started producer.
Oh, season 3.
But got offered, but like said yes to the role because she got offered when she got offered the role to become an executive producer.
If she was season 3,
Smart
Started
lady.
season
That didn't
three.
start till season 3?
Didn't start till season 3.
that is that is the difference between like apartment money and like double townhouse money. So,
she made
like,
$3 million
real
an
smart.
episode.
What?
That's the
$3
facts.
million
That's
episode?
the facts that we got on our facts, and this is the
Dang.
facts. And
Wow.
if these are not the facts,
Those
then
are the facts of the
please,
facts.
Willie
So,
Garson.
This
tell
was
me.
an episode about most important thing was that it was about firemen. And so what I would like to do in this episode of Steve
Oh, yeah,
Talk
we're in Steve Talk.
is I would
Yeah, right,
love
sorry,
to
Steve.
hear
Okay.
I'll paint the scene. It's 4:30 in the morning. Steve is sleeping on his couch, or he's coming home from his work shift. He notices that his microwave is on fire. And this is actually, we have a 911 call of Steve calling the firemen, telling them about the house fire in his apartment.
Okay, so who's you're going to be the fireman.
Okay.
Bring, bring, bring.
911, I have an emergency.
What's your emergency?
I think I left my microwave on. I might have left some popcorn in it, but something's on fire.
Oh shit. Well, I never done anything like this before, so I guess I'll get some of the guys together and we'll try and go over
Joey,
there.
what do you need? What's going on?
This guy left his popcorn in the microwave.
Popcorn in the microwave? You
I
an
don't
idiot?
know. I don't know if I can.
If you guys could get over here, I'm gonna have Miranda over later, and I don't
Is the guy
Who the
sick?
fuck's
Does he
Miranda?
need a throat lozenge?
Do you need a throat
What's
lozenge,
wrong with him?
buddy?
My name is Steve, and
Congratulations. Great.
Maybe
We all
drink
got
some
names,
tea.
buddy.
think everything's on fire. You guys are being real
I
pisses.
guess we gotta get over there. There's
All
some
right,
broad
rally the
downstairs
troops. Put
in
your
the
pants
boots.
on. Put your
Get out of
pants
my
on.
boots.
I'm fucking someone on the back of the truck. What's going on yet?
Oh no.
What's going on at this firehouse? And also, why a fireman? Why are you answering the 911 call?
All right. That was a great
It's the
Steve Talk.
favorite
Oh my God, I love Steve Talk.
It's a favorite guy. It's Steve Talk.
Miranda.
All right.
Wow,
and
that
we're
was
back.
a- that
We're
was a
back
solid
to
Steve
Bradshaw
Is Steve
Boys.
the favorite guy?
Steve is our
was,
favorite
before
guy.
we ever even did the podcast, I didn't even know anything about the show, and John's like, I want to do a podcast called Steve Talk. And I was like, who the fuck is Steve? Do you know
now
it from
you know.
Katie? Is it Katie's favorite?
No, I just heard about Steve. I think Steve was in some episodes. This actually was one of the episodes I've seen before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's like 5 of them that I randomly have seen before, and this is one that I've seen before because I remember when he said he only smokes 1 cigarette a week. I was like, I remember that guy.
That's such a wow.
Nice.
What a great fact to remember.
Yeah.
My God.
Well,
I will say, we'd heard from a lot of people that they love Steve, and they're like, there's so many bad guys. Steve's a good guy, and I do think they're going pretty hard on
Him being a good
showing
guy.
how good of a guy he is. Like her waking up and seeing him
Yeah.
with his sleeping.
I like
on
She's
the-
that.
fallen
on the
more
ground.
deeply in love with him.
Yeah.
This episode, he is a good guy.
This
Oh.
is a good Steve
Oh,
one.
no.
Oh,
Well, I'm not saying he's ever.
Whoa, sorry, that was dark.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
Does he kill
He's
Miranda?
never bad.
He kills Miranda 4 times.
Aside
She
from
just
the
doesn't
murders-
die.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to hear who your favorite.
I like
guy is.
Harry,
I
which
don't
you
know
guys
who that
aren't there
is.
yet.
You're
Oh,
not
that's
there
right.
yet. You're not
That's
there
right.
for Smith Jared yet either.
Okay.
Smith.
Smith.
Don't pay no mind.
Pay
Just
no
wait.
mind.
Who's
just
the
wait.
favorite
just
guy
wait.
that we've seen so far?
Yeah, up to season 3. Who's your
It's a
favorite?
good
guy?
question.
You
I like the
haven't
new
seen-
Yankee.
Oh, the new Yankee?
I like
It's
Yankee.
fine.
Yankee, the new Yankee was like a smarter version of or like a more charismatic version of the firefighter guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Firefighter guy was he was.
If Carrie was in a
fine.
good place emotionally, that would have been a solid 3 to 4 episode fling.
The new
Yeah.
Yankee had some depth to him.
Yeah.
He got his feelings hurt. He was confused.
She cried in his mouth. That's hard.
That's right.
Yeah.
My God.
20-something Sam.
Oh,
Very fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
20-something Sam.
Very
was
early.
so
That
much
was,
Who's that?
fun.
Justin Thoreau?
No, that was
Justin-
Timothy
No,
Oliphant.
Do you know Justin Thoreau's
No,
in
it
it
was
twice?
Timothy Oliphant.
Just-
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
okay.
seen
Wild.
both of him.
Is that already? You've seen
I
both
think.
of them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Already?
wow.
My
This is
God.
crazy. It was like
season 1 and 2.
Damn.
I will
I can't
say.
What do you
That
guys think about
close.
Turtle Tower?
Turtle Town.
We just did that episode,
Turtle
right?
in the hair?
Turtle Tob. Is that
Is
that
his
guy?
last, his
Yeah.
last name's Tom?
I don't know.
Okay.
Tom.
Turtle.
He.
These
We thought that was
trumpets?
weird, that episode. I don't know. I mean, you can't change someone, is I think the moral of that story.
She needs to find someone that just gets so horny anytime he brings up mushrooms. She's just like, keep talking about mushrooms.
I know.
And
I
he's
was like, I
Talk
like
about
that.
fungi.
I want to talk about mushrooms.
What do you guys think about Mike Singer, the cheese shop guy from episode 6 of season 1, and Libby, the cheese shop girl?
I thought that was sad.
Yeah.
Very sad because she seemed great.
Mm-hmm.
And she was great. And
She
just
was.
the fear. I mean, I get it. Like, people are always worried. What does everyone think of me? Which is whatever. But, like, you're ultimately hurting yourself if you do that.
Okay, there's one that we haven't asked that we have to ask.
Go for it.
Oh my God.
What do you guys think of Capote Duncan?
Capote Duncan. I mean, a staple in the early.
Pilot episode.
Is it? Yeah, it is the pilot.
Is that
he gets in the cab with Charlotte
and
to
then
go
and then he
downtown.
does,
And you know why?
Samantha.
Sleeps with
He needs to have
Samantha.
sex
He
tonight.
needs to have
Yeah,
sex
sex
tonight.
tonight.
Have sex.
Understandable. But doesn't need to throw it in Charlotte's face.
But is there the confidence? Are there guys out there that are like? I guess if you're rich and you're good enough looking, is it true you could just go to a bar and be like, "All right, tonight's the night. I'm gonna have sex," and you put that in the zone and you do it.
Definitely. Guys are in an amazing position
Yeah.
most of the time.
There's
If you're
more
like
of
charming
you
enough to do
than-
that, yeah.
Even if
And
you
you're
weren't
more-
rich and
there's
good
more-
looking, I think you could just go and have,
As good women.
spray
I
like
mean,
a fire hose at anyone and just, I'm sure.
in New
eventually-
York, definitely.
Fire hose. Nice callback.
Now
buddy.
listen, and I just want to know, like, if you were gonna, where would you go if you were?
Oh,
You're gonna do
okay,
space
I
cool?
see where we're going. So, listen, no, Banana Republic. You go to the
Exactly.
the,
You go
the
to
stalls,
Zara.
the,
You go
the
to
dressing
Zara
rooms of
on
no.
Broadway.
What just for people? Yeah, guys just do that. But also, it's like I guess
And
standards.
women can do that.
And women can do that
100%.
too. It's I just need to get laid tonight. I'm not that type of personality, but they're out there. Doesn't matter your sex.
I went on a bad date and then I went on a date after that date because another guy texted me during that date and I didn't sleep with either of them, but I could have.
just like cleanse your palates of the one date to go to the other date,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just, you have an amount of time.
Yeah.
Have we seen any of the girls date to a guy at the
Yes,
same time?
yes. A couple episodes ago, remember Charlotte is
Bam.
dating those
When
two
she
guys.
does
Oh,
look
yeah.
so
And then the guys at the end, they're like, "Hey, let's get out
Let's
of here,"
hang
and they
out.
leave.
Yeah,
That
they
was
bro
great.
out.
It's
They
pretty
bro
fun.
out.
And they
That was
hold
great.
hands in the cab. It's cute. No,
It
I'm
was
just kidding.
cool. Those guys spoon each other.
One little side note: there's a lot of things about registering to vote, which is a
were.
big
And
thing
she
right now.
wasn't. Red flag.
When
Red
we
flag.
I
did
know
this
this-
one,
it's-
I think we started out our episode like, get off of this app and get on another app to fucking figure it out.
I do
to
feel
vote
like that
if you're not
wouldn't
registered.
happen today. If
Absolutely
if
not.
that
No.
show was done today, she would be like, "Well, I'll tell you which states where the deadlines are for when you need to register to vote."
Well, that's
you
just,
would
yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
Or at least Miranda would have it on the tip of her tongue.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, hey, here, let me just text it to you.
Yeah,
There should
we're
have
at
been
an
a little more
especially time right now. You can't get away with not being able. I actually saw a tweet today from some girl that just said, "If you're not registered to vote, you're not registered to have your dick sucked." And I was like, "That is
Good.
That's how urgent voting is right
It's
now."
Wait, so you
very-
can get registered to have your?
You actually need to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a good
There's
excuse
a
to get out of a
test. There's a
blowjob.
test you
Sorry.
Are you registered to vote? But yeah, no, I
sorry.
was like, that's so funny. That stands out now. Right now, it's like registering to vote is not a funny thing right now.
It's not funny.
If you're
at
not,
all. Oh my God.
but
It's-
the
Hey, real quick,
what?
what does a comptroller do? I've looked this
The
up
money.
in years.
They're in charge of the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
However,
what
this
John
is like
LaHoda-
Bush administration time, right? So it should be a pressing issue. I think they're just kind of like,
Well, this is
Politics.
No,
This
this
is
is
Clinton.
this is Clinton. This is the
Oh.
budget is balanced.
what year is this?
Who was that? We're in like 99. We're in
Oh, okay.
2000.
We're 2000.
2000.
So
Who's
Okay,
who's
yeah.
the mayor of New York City?
well, they
Giuliani,
just,
right?
They just showed the two towers in this. So this is before
right.
9/11. So
yeah, I think it's 2000 is where we're at. in
Ugh,
the
love
timeline.
pre 9/11. It's so nice.
so many happy endings in films.
Yeah.
Do you ever notice that?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, every Marvel movie, God,
Yeah.
we're almost dead.
Yeah.
I know,
Anyway.
no, it is wild. Like that. I mean, obviously, but that is such like like that changed everything for even the way that like you just show the city and you're like, oh, all of our boyfriends, and then we watch that, we're like, they're the two towers. Those aren't here
I
anymore.
know.
You know.
And you know
It's
they take them
crazy.
out of the credits?
Oh, they
They
did?
made the
Jesus.
choice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
Sorry.
our tour company was set to launch in October of 2001.
Oh wow.
And it was
Whoa.
delayed.
Mhm.
I don't know how long, several months.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Anyway,
Cute.
enough 9/11 talk.
I
Back to voting.
That's what I always bring
Please
to
vote. My
situations.
God.
well, this is okay. This is the main question of the episode, and I guess we should talk. Like, what I guess their moral was like, if you need a fairy tale or need to be rescued, they kind of did the delicate balance of like everyone wins in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess
I don't think Samantha won.
yeah, she did. She got her fantasy, and then she just a few people saw her.
Her
Everyone.
fantasy was not like at all what she thought.
Yeah,
it was
I feel
a
like
bunch of
she-
bros eating chili, watching sports.
Yeah, but then she got
then-
banged on the back of the truck, and there was
and
a
then
funny
the
moment.
was
truck
more
left,
so
and
the-
she had to like hop out naked.
Hop out naked.
And then the couple walked by and saw her scrambling.
There was a line that said her. Yeah, she had to see her rescue fantasy versus her rescue reality.
Okay, I
And
also
it-
didn't mean that
just went
everyone
with the
gets what they
theme.
want. The episode was like there was a perfect balance of like of everyone had.
What if Carrie's fantasy is really missing the ferry and just getting picked up by some guy that she just kissed?
And
That
I
was-
love
yeah,
that
was the-
fantasy.
throwing money in a
Yes.
cab
Penultimate
driver's face.
fantasy of
Throwing
hers.
Oh, that was the first time
That's-
I'd ever seen that. She just tosses
Threw the money.
cash, wadded cash
And her
at a
shoe
man's
comes
face. She
off.
doesn't even look and see if she
They're-
even hits him.
They're like not great to service people in this show. In the last
Agreed.
episode, in the end of season 2, when Carrie is do you guys remember the end of season when her and Big see each other? They keep tripping going up the stairs at that restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
and
love
she's
that
rude.
scene.
She falls down the stairs and like grabs onto the hostess. She's like, "You need to fix these stairs."
They're dangerous.
Granted, she had a very traumatic moment, but like
Yeah.
they're never really great to service workers.
Yeah,
in this show.
that wasn't a beautiful moment for now.
I know,
agree.
but have you been to some of the restaurants around here? It's a bunch of actors that don't care about being a wait staff.
True.
They're all late bringing your food.
It's true.
No,
Cab
I'm
drivers
kidding.
never get you to the ferry on time.
No.
It was like step on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out a way to word a question, but it's like what girls needing to be rescued.
Well, I think
we just
Good.
kind of
like a
talked about that in
writing
the last
trope
two
that they
episodes.
used all the time was the pie in the face. So like if they want to be rescued, they're going to get rescued and
gonna
then pie in the
backfire.
face. It backfires. And I think that's kind of what happened to all of them, except for Carrie, who ultimately surrendered too. She's resisting being rescued this
Yeah.
whole time, and then ultimately, I don't know why you wouldn't accept the ride in the first place. Why are you Ferry? Just be like, yeah, drive me home, and you don't get to come up.
Well, I do understand the whole like when you're
I mean,
starting in a
depends.
new relationship or you're kind of in it and like you have like very arbitrary rules just to be like, this will not. Like, I'm getting over something, but then you just have to kind of let yourself be free and see
Yeah.
where life takes
in
you.
the moment,
Especially when
be in the
Slattery's flirting with you.
moment.
It's really you have no choice at that point.
Yeah, God, but he's on her stoop waiting for her. I was like, yay!
That was a little much.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Well, much.
Carrie gets a lot of dudes like hanging out on the stoop. Like when the guy who broke his sobriety was like getting naked in the street,
right?
Yeah.
yelling at her. She has a lot of that. I think
She-
she's got a
yeah.
good view for
That's a
these things
wild
to
one.
happen out her window.
And I feel like Big like picking her up for like the airport, and then that doesn't happen.
oh, and then he walks off the curb. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
God.
know if it's TV and that's just convenient for them to have someone show up, to
I'm
help the
sure it
storyline,
is.
or if it's just pre-cell phone era and people are
Yeah.
just showing up places more.
Yeah, because
Fuck,
do you
That's a
interesting.
good thought.
Kevin had in a friend romantic way. There were times when you would try to do a flyby.
I'm still trying to do that at some places.
And you did it a couple times in my old apartment. You were like, "Hey, dude, I just want to come by." And like, I was like, "Dude, this is great." And there was another time you came by, and I was like, "It's not a good time, man."
Yeah.
And then
That's
I do
hilarious.
remember that.
yeah,
I was
and
like,
I was just
you
gonna
were
like,
like-
I just came by, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm really sorry.
Were you putting a fire
It's
out?
not a good time." Yeah, we just had some things going on.
All right
there
then.
was,
All right,
there
all right,
was,
all right,
there was
all
a
right.
fire being put out.
All
I was like,
yeah.
"Yeah, man, maybe I'll text you later on."
And I was just
Did
like,
you
hey.
text first or just
no
surprise?
text,
No.
just a flyby.
It was literally like within a
I
couple.
have one friend who does the same thing in Queens, but go on.
He did a flyby one night, and I was like, I'm kind of trying to get some work done. I was like, dude, whatever, come up. And we had some drinks, and we went out afterward. And then a couple weeks later, did the other flyby, and I was like, should have texted this time.
And I will say, hasn't been too many flybys since.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
a text first. I'm nearby, and then
right.
I,
I
almost
think the
feel
best
like
place to
bad.
fly by is when someone's at work. Like if you just do a
Totally.
flyby at work, it's
Flyby at
it's
work is
usually, unless
good.
they're at like a meeting, it's a really good.
Yeah.
Go
But
by,
I mean-
go out, get a coffee.
Yeah, but life happens. Sometimes you can fly by. I have done a flyby at your office before.
Yeah, anyone's welcome anytime.
Oh, where's your
Flybys.
office?
Industry City. Come on down.
Okay, I'm
Fly
in.
Windsor Park,
I'm in.
yeah.
Free Wi-Fi.
I almost feel like you need to text someone before you call them nowadays.
It's true.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I know.
Um,
I
alert
texted someone today and I was like, we still on for 3? And it was like 2:57. I'm like, how fucking stupid is that? I felt stupid as I sent it.
Suspense is killing me.
I'm
Well, were
looking
you
at
still
you.
on?
Yeah,
Were you still on?
we were.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
Let's do the Cosmo rating. What do you think?
So one thing we always do, you guys can think about this while we do it, but we do a Cosmo rating of every episode, 1 to 5 Cosmos. You can use quarter and half Cosmos, and you guys could think about it in the context of the entire series. We'll even let you put movies in that if you want.
Okay.
That might mess up your ratings. But we'll do ours first, and we'll each say a quick thing about the episode. Yeah, let's do it.
I got mine ready.
I'm trying to play fast and loose with my rating, but just because I don't want to overthink it, and I just,
Okay, I got mine. You guys ready?
3, 2, 1,
3.5.
Whoa, say it all again. Go.
I'm 3.5.
Okay.
Mine, Kevin, was 4.25.
And I'm a 4.
Yeah.
Let's start with the lowest. Corey, why?
No,
why?
Kevin's 3.25. He's the
No,
lowest.
I'm 4.25.
4.25, bro.
Oh, okay.
You're the lowest.
Wow.
Fucking loser.
Defend your score. You know what? Here's why. And I thought this when I was thinking about doing the rating earlier. I thought this was a really solid episode. I think the show has gone to another level. I think we talk about the most New York and least New York things on the show. I feel like there were a lot of very New York things. They rode the ferry. You wouldn't really, and they were even like, and they didn't even like crap on Staten Island that much. They were just like, oh, we're getting on the ferry. It's a pretty New York episode. SJP's a producer now. You can tell the show is kind of at another level, production and writing wise.
Fashion wise, it was way high up, I think.
I think it was, but I don't remember as much.
Just Carrie's shoes, those big old fucking
Big old
boots.
coat.
Oh yeah, the
Fur
coats,
and-
Samantha's
the blue
thing.
leopard.
Here's the thing. I think it was actually a very good episode, but I bumped my rating down because, from what everyone's told us, I think they're going to get better and better. So I think like if I would have rated this episode and it would have been in seasons 1 and 2, I probably would have rated it like a 4.25. But I think we're in I think we've like gone from junior varsity to varsity in terms of Sex and the City.
That was a really cute way of explaining yourself that you misrated that. I think.
Wow.
Should have been higher.
Wow, John.
Yeah, that episode was
His
4.
eyes were so
that
sincere.
episode was
God.
easily a 4 or above. It was a great episode. It had
Okay.
all the great things that make a good Sex and the City episode. The whole scene with Samantha was absolutely hilarious. Charlotte's relationship foil was expected, yes, but still really funny. I think we all got a good chuckle with the White Knight. Carrie, the tension with, I forgot what you guys all call him. He's the politician, the president.
John Slattery.
John
We call him by the
Slattery.
name
you
his
guys
parents
call?
gave him, John.
I called
thought
him.
that was
I went
great.
back and forth between that and Roger.
Miranda slowly opening up like a delicate flower to accepting Steve through the pun of her vision getting corrected and seeing Steve for the first time. It was a great episode. It was not a 3.25. It was a 4.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I rated it a 3.5, and I think I was wrong.
Wow.
I love that you can admit that.
All
Thanks. I'm
right.
working on it.
Well,
You know what?
Take good example.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm
that
working on it.
that 3.5 was roughage, and we all know.
And we know it because that's not a score and that's not a word.
Yeah.
Right, Kevin.
I gave it 4.25 because in the last, because it was one of my favorite episodes. We watched the season 2 finale just before this, and it didn't hit, like, it was a little too over the head for me, and it's fine when season finales are like that to like take a little heaviness, but just the horse thing bothered me, and this I was like, man, this right here, this is like they're right in the pocket. They have, without forcing the seriousness, there's still like beauty, and Carrie being like, I'm gonna open myself up. And Miranda, the Samantha stuff was really funny. John Slattery crushed it. And that dude, the firefighter, he just had a few lines, but he was so fucking funny. So
He was so specific, and you know him.
Yes.
You've seen him on the street. You've seen him like go get coffee with the rest of them and like standing out by the firehouse. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
yes, and just him like missing like her quick witticism, and him just being like, hey, I'm this dude, and I'm great at sex, and
My
you're
birthday's
like,
in October. Maybe I'm October.
yeah,
Oh my
like that,
God.
like just so good. So it's
Yeah, I
just
think
one
we
of my
all said
favorite
we knew that guy.
episodes so
Yeah.
far. Yeah, and I think it's up there with my favorite episode so far, and that's why I gave it a 4.25. Melissa,
I was thinking at first, I don't know why, I was like maybe like 3.75 just because I don't think there were any big like reveals. But then I was like, there's so many iconic things that when you think of the series as a whole, Samantha in the suspenders is huge. Charlotte drunk dancing like that. John Slattery, any episode. I have to go at least 4, if not 4.25. And one of our bus tour clips. It's so weird when we watch episodes and then, because there are these, maybe 30-second moments that we've heard.
And then you hear that
hundreds
music and you feel like
and
how
hundreds of
tired
times.
you are.
Which we didn't talk about.
depending
Do you
on what
guys know what
part.
this means? Hasty pudding show just to blow off steam.
So
Does
is
that
that
mean
a
he's just
What does that mean?
fucking?
Yeah,
I
what
think
does that mean?
I thought that was I know it was a Harvard thing.
Okay. I wasn't
What?
sure
I have
either.
no idea what that means.
I love
and
it.
I
Rolls
hear it
off the tongue.
all the time.
I love it. We
I
hear
don't
it.
think it rolls out. I think it is a very
Hasty
awkward
pudding
thing to
show
say.
just to blow off steam.
What the fuck
Oh
does
my
that
God,
mean?
I love it so much.
So just that
It's
line,
like
I'm going to
a
go
simple circle jerk
4.25.
just to blow off steam. I don't know what it
Yeah,
means.
it's a Harvard. The Hasty Pudding Institute of 1770 is a social club for Harvard students. So it's kind of like the.
Thank you for that.
It's kind of like the Harvard Lampoon, but it's not a comedy thing. It's just like a Harvard club.
So he did that.
Okay.
He did that just to blow off
Just to
steam.
blow off
And then he just
steam.
wanted to fight.
So wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
What clip is in your tour?
Blue
Him
Water Grill.
punching, Blue Water Grill.
The second punch.
Okay.
Hawaiian
cool.
punch. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so 4 to 4.25.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say a solid 4.25. Yeah.
I think I really messed up.
It's all right. Hey. You just.
But
you,
I
you
get
hope
it
for the
because there's
best. You
not
hope for
like
the
a
best.
huge.
Yeah.
You guys haven't even gotten to like halfway. You've
Yeah.
got lots to do.
I want to apologize. I really came after you really strong.
It's okay. I think
have your opinion.
no,
and
I think you did it in a way that
It was out of
understood
love.
why. That's
it
what I was gonna say. I think
it was
out of
not like
love.
Charlotte's boyfriend. It was more like a Steve. It was like a hard Steve love.
I think so. It
I
was
give
like,
it-
what are we doing here? Yeah.
So I say 4.25 because of why I go to Sex in the City. I mean, yes, there's not big drops. There's not big reveals. I think last episode of season 2 is like iconic for like big dramatic endings, and I think beginnings are very fun. I relate to them more, beginnings, and this is such a fun, hopeful, exciting beginning for all of them because they're all single on the ferry, and then you're dealing with like real issues still. The idea of being rescued, like that idea that like we have been like bred into us as young children and having like Barbie dolls that are princesses, and then like that those social norms and what you've seen in stories all your life, like, do we need to be rescued? We're single, we're fabulous, we're
I do
in
like
our
it.
30s.
The thing you're not supposed to say.
That thing you're not supposed to
That's a
want
really
when you
good
live in
scene.
New York City, and then then you get food poisoning, and you're like, man, I would love if someone was holding my hair back right now. But yeah, I liked that they grappled with that. I love the fireman. I love going to Staten Island. I like seeing Charlotte loose. And yeah, like this is a really sweet Steve moment. You can't go wrong. And you guys, oh shit, I can't talk about those things. Never mind. I'm excited for your journey. Is what
Thank
I'm
you.
saying.
We're very excited as well. Tell us where we can learn more about you all.
Yeah. Tell us
Cool.
where we can find you guys
Well, our
individually and your
podcast.
podcast and everything.
Yeah.
We just have an Instagram and
For the
kind of a
podcast.
Facebook for the podcast.
Yeah.
It's
We don't
at-
pay too much attention to the Facebook. We should more.
We should. We should.
yeah.
It's a dead medium.
Is it? It's just a bunch of Russians now, and so I don't know.
Yeah. So
It's just
speaking of Carrie,
Petrovsky.
and our Instagram is at Speaking of Carrie.
Okay.
And
Mine is at M_STOKS. If I could just plug Handmaid's Tale the musical on November 8th,
Ooh.
New York Comedy Fest.
Get
If
it.
anybody wants to go
Get
see
it.
Yeah, that wait, that's November 8th.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's at the Cutting Room.
I want to go.
You
Midtown,
gotta. And
please.
guys, guess who is part owner of the cutting room?
Christopher Noth.
Bam.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
We had
Yeah, he's one of the owners.
one of our
no.
You're
podcast
performing
guests.
at Big's Place, my
Oh,
dear.
Yeah.
God. This show fucking follows me everywhere.
Doesn't it though?
I hope Noth is there.
Oh God.
I bet he will
We
be.
should go November 8th.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I would love that.
You guys, it's fantastic. It's a hilarious show. It's
I can't
so
wait.
good. My Instagram handle is my first and last name, Elyse Brandau, ELYSEBRANDAU. What do I have to plug? I don't know. I was just in a series for NBC Sports, second season of Draftsville. It's a Friday Night Lights parody. So
That's great.
check it out. I'm with
All right.
Daryl Hammond and Chris Redd,
Whoa.
and actually Zach Guilford from Friday Night Lights.
No
it's very,
way.
very fun. It's
That
a very
is
fun
great.
show. If you like fantasy football and if you like Friday Night Lights, which is a very small niche group, but if you like that and Sex in the City and you're listening, check it out.
That's awesome. Or if you like the current announcing voice of Saturday Night Live, Daryl Hammond.
Yeah.
One of the great impressionists of our time.
He is.
I also want to give a shout out to Tiff G Nem
Tiff,
on
get
Instagram
it.
because she said, "Is it really the crossover of my dreams? Love speaking of Carrie. Love Bradshaw Boys." So thank
Tiff.
you,
Thanks,
Tiff.
Tiff.
Tiff, do you
Thanks,
have a
Tiff.
rainbow? Does she have like a rainbow?
Yes, yeah,
Tiff,
Tiff. What's up, Tiff?
keep on, girl.
All of our followers,
yeah.
go listen to Speaking of Carrie. If you listen to Speaking of Carrie, listen to us and go rate us 5 Cosmos for both podcasts. We would love it and appreciate it so much. Thank you, girls, for being on.
Thank
guys,
you
this
for
was a
having
treat.
us.
Thank you, and
Oh
we'll
my
do some
God.
other.
Honor.
We'll do some
So
other
fun.
crossover again sometime.
You gotta get
Definitely.
on.
All right, bye.
Bye.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balin. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys, and if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.